Yo, what's good, folkers? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at in the world. This is Tyrant's Bane. Welcome to the definition of anarchy. Today, on March 30th, 2021, on a Tuesday, I'm going to get into some information from the Secret Service in regards to preventing mass shootings, okay? Now, I'm going to present an article to you that was put out today by, I think it's NBC News, in regards to how they were able to prevent a specific mass shooting from occurring by looking at early warning signs, okay? Now, how they were able to prevent it had nothing to do with actually banning assault weapons or banning or doing background checks or initiating background checks and this, that, and the third. They were able to do this through other means, which is very important and which is a clue and key evidence as to how background checks and assault weapons bans and this, that, and the third are not going to prevent this. Other things will, though. Okay, and I'll get into that. All right. So now this is March 30th, 2021. This came out today. And the headline reads, Secret Service report says school shootings are preventable with similar warning signs. In many cases, students plotted their attacks for months, allowing ample time to stop them if schools know what to look for, the report said. A plot to attack Aces High School in Everett, Washington was stopped 3 years ago when the grandmother of a student discovered that he had written something disturbing in his journal and called 911. He's planning to have a mass shooting at one of the high schools, she told police. The student, Joshua O'Connor, wrote that he wanted to make his attack famous. I need to get the biggest fatality number I possibly can, he wrote, according to the charges filed against him. A search of his bedroom turned up a high-point 9mm carbine, the same model used in a 1999 shooting in Columbine at Columbine High School in Colorado. School officials called the grandmother a hero. She could very well have saved a number of lives, including her grandson's life, Andy Muntz, a spokesman for the school district, said at the time. A Secret Service study released Tuesday of 67 school attack plans that were discovered and stopped over a dozen years found that nearly every case, the plotters, like Joshua O'Connor, gave off distinct warning signs, most often, surprisingly, telling their friends what they were up to. They let other students know and those around them about their planning, said the report's author, Lena Alathari, however you pronounce that, a psychologist who leads the agency's National Threat Assessment Center. They talked about wanting to carry out an attack. They selected dates and so on. Among the warning signs, the report said, are a fascination with past violent attacks, an interest in weapons, suicidal thoughts, and harassing behavior. Nearly half of the plotters in the analysis were found to have been bullied by their classmates. The Secret Service said in many cases, students plotted their attacks for months, allowing ample time to stop them if schools know what to look for. In 21 cases where a student for the earliest planning was found, 14 were planned for at least a month, with one student considering attack for more than 2 years. The level of planning can be quite detailed, Alathari said in an interview. There were students who were manufacturing explosives, she said. They were doing research on websites on how to maximize casualties and how to acquire weapons. The report said incidents in the targeted school violence are preventable when communities identify and act on warning signs. That should involve teachers, counselors, administrators, principals, and school resource officers. Everyone has a role to play in prevention, Alathari said. Now, can anyone tell me, was there anything about banning assault weapons or background checks? Did they mention any of that in regards to preventing these mass shootings at these schools and whatnot? No, they did not. You know why? Because they know that won't prevent it. You understand? These students don't, most of these kids, they've never committed a crime in their life before, or haven't ever been convicted of a crime. So a background check would not have stopped them. And if they're going to ban assault weapons, they would have just used like a shotgun or a pistol or something like that. You understand what I'm saying? So banning assault weapons and background checks will not prevent this. What will prevent it is looking at those early warning signs, like they said, and doing something to help quell that anxiety in that student, to do something to prevent it. Okay, so, but see, we also have to be careful, because they'll use incidents like this to push something like the TAPS Act, which will criminalize someone's thoughts, right? It'll criminalize your thoughts. It's a pre-crime bill that will criminalize your thoughts or certain things that you say that they feel is threatening. You understand what I'm saying? So it's all going to be subjective. Now, in these cases, these kids were actually verbally expressing the idea and the want to commit these crimes. Not saying, oh, my government, I can't trust my government. Oh, we should be able to keep and bear arms to prevent tyranny. See, if they pass a TAPS Act, they'll use verbiage like that to go after people. You know what I'm saying? It won't be as specific as was stated in this article, where they're writing actual journals. I'm going to go on this day and I want to kill this many kids. I want to kill the most students ever in a mass shooting. That is a little bit more direct. You understand what I'm saying? So I can understand kind of taking that and saying, the language has to be very specific in my mind. The language has to be very specific. I know we have the right to free speech and all that stuff, but that doesn't mean that we just ignore when people make threats. You understand what I'm saying? We have to prepare for those threats. We have to step in and do something. And in many cases, these kids are kids, right? And the only legitimate authority one individual has over another is their parent over their child. That's the only, in my mind. So at that point, okay, we have to do something a little bit more. We have to, address this kid directly. We have to get inside his head. We have to talk to him. We have to see what's going on. Why do you want to kill these many students? Why do you have this? Why do you have that? At that point, you're plotting, you're conspiring. Well, conspiracy is between two people. You're plotting to commit mass murder, a mass shooting. You understand what I'm saying? So at that point, you are actually planning on carrying out a threat. Now, how do you deal with that, right? In a free society where you're living in anarchy or in voluntarism, how do you deal with an individual like that? Because being free is not going to prevent people like this from wanting to do those things. So how do you deal with those people? Well, again, you have to address them. You have to approach them. You have to talk to them. You have to find out why they want to do these things. And you might have to remove them from your society. I don't know if you lock them up. They haven't actually done it yet. They're planning on doing it. So at that point, you have to assess and you have to really go through and see what you can really do. But in these cases where you have students that are underage talking about committing these crimes, you have to remove them from that situation. You have to remove that temptation from them. You have to have someone talk to them. They have to talk to someone who has the sense and that can find out what's going on in them, because there's something going on that makes these kids want to do these things, like bullying, being harassed, something's going on at home. Maybe they're being abused at the house. You have to find out what's going on with these kids that's making them want to do this, but anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Did you guys get any inkling that, according to the Secret Service, right? According to the Secret Service, they prevented so many mass shootings just by listening to what these kids are saying and taking it seriously. When kids go around threatening people, when they go around saying they want to harm themselves, when they go around saying they want to harm other people, you have to take that seriously. You can't let that go in one ear and out the other. You can't ignore it like they did with this last mass shooting in Colorado, right? Because there were early warning signs, just like in Georgia. I mean, there weren't seriously overt warning signs with the kid in Georgia. He said he wanted to, something was wrong with him, right? But how do you have to really assess that? You have to take these things seriously. When people come to you with mental health issues and you can see the mental health issues, then they have to be addressed. They have to be addressed immediately and seriously. This is how you prevent things like this, not by taking the tools away from someone else who would do no harm with those tools. You know, you don't punish other people because you don't take something away from everybody because a few people are going to do bad things with it. There's a great meme out there where there's two guys, right? One has on a mask and another guy doesn't, right? The guy with the mask says, I'm going to turn in my gun to prevent, I'm going to turn in my gun to stop shootings or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And the other guy without the mask said, are you going to cut off your dick to stop rape? And the other guy with the mask, he was like, yeah. So it's like that. Like, oh, I'm going to turn in my gun to stop gun violence. Well, you might as well cut your dick off to stop rape. It's not going, you know what I'm saying? If you don't intend on raping somebody, cutting your own dick off is not going to stop other people from raping. You understand what I'm saying? Turning your gun in is not going to prevent gun crime. That's the whole point. So background checks is an infringement. Point blank in the period. I don't care what you say. Oh, well, you want to make sure criminals don't get a hold of the guns. No, criminals, they're going to get the guns anyway. I keep saying that, and I keep saying it to drive it home. Just like anything else, right? If someone stabs somebody with the claw side of the hammer, kill somebody with it, you don't outlaw hammers. You know what I'm saying? And somebody bashes someone's skull in with a bat, you don't ban bats, right? No. So let's just keep common sense going in our minds, and let's look at this here article. Let's look at what they're talking about and see, okay, this makes a lot of sense. This is how we really address these issues. You understand what I'm saying? The one time I would agree with an agency like the Secret Service, but they right on point. This is how you stop it. All right. So like, share, subscribe. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Make sure this information gets out so that we can keep this message going, and let's keep marching forward towards freedom. Peace.